Last month, VeChain was a premier sponsor for a huge sports entertainment event, talking WrestleMania 41. Now, before you turn away, this was in front of 162,000 people over the course of 48 hours, and that's just gate attendance. How were they able to pull this off? Well, you remember that deal they put together with the UFC back in 2022 that everyone laughed at? Yeah, that wasn't just a one off thing. This is part of a long term, multi layered strategy on behalf of VeChain. In the last 30 days, they've added Dana White to their advisory board. He turned around and added VeChain as the premier rights partner to the Power Slap League, which will now be globally distributed on YouTube in 2025. This ties VeChain directly into the multi-billion-dollar entity known as the TKO Group. So, how does this set it apart from other sports related crypto deals that we've seen in the past? And what does it all mean for the future of VeChain? That's something I want to dive into in this episode. Welcome. You're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in the space since 2019 and I've researched over 1,000 digital assets. Now, the number one reason I sit here is to share all of that knowledge with you. All I'm asking in return, if you find value, hit that subscribe button. I want to see this channel reach 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. At the end of this episode, I'll share with you our DHN content library. It's a collection of educational tools and resources that our viewers benefit from every day. Before that, though, let's get into this story because it's exciting. Having not talked about VeChain in quite some time, I'll be completely honest with you. I fell off on them because they weren't making a lot of noise. All right. But when I watched WrestleMania 41 this year, and y'all know I did, okay? I'm a big sports nerd. I can't help myself. When I'm watching the show, I'm seeing the V Better logo, and I'm trying to stay in my state of disbelief. I'm like, that's not them. That's not them, right? Then they started to have solo ads for VeChain during the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. And then the game changed forever for me at that point, and I had to start digging back into the situation. I found out that this is, in fact, a multi-layer approach. It's going to include live events, it'll include personnel, and we've seen that in the form of Dana White, and it'll also include technology. And that's something that really sets it apart from the other deals that we're going to talk about in just a few moments. VeChain was very present at an event called TKO Takeover 2025. It's an annual event that TKO hosts for its brands. This year they were in Kansas City. And as you can see here, VeChain token was on full display during the Kansas City knockout put on by the Professional Bull Riders League or Association. Not quite sure, but PBR. So when you're understanding this, guys, it's really crazy when you know this all started with an NFC chip implanted into a boxing glove, right? Which at the time, I think people really got that confused with just being another NFT cash grab. That we were coming out of 2021, the bull run of 2021, and we were in the bear of 2022. If it had an NFT or in anything attached to it, it was going to get dragged through the mud. But now that we've had a few years to kind of see how this evolves, we can see this isn't just an NFT. As a matter of fact, I watch a lot of football. One of the ways that they test the arm strength for quarterback prospects is through a particular tag that they have in the ball, measures the rotation, the speed, the arc through the air, all of that stuff. So that just goes to show you how big this can really get. And all the more reason why this particular relationship, sports crypto relationship, is a little bit different from what we've seen in the past. Coinbase and crypto.com will be our biggest examples. We all know that Coinbase has the ad placements with the NBA. You see the Coinbase logo on all the basketball rims. They even have a couple specific relationships with a few franchises that talks more into the fan engagement part of this discussion. And in crypto.com's case, they also have a deal with the UFC, but you notice it's strictly just about logo placement. I do believe, though, if you are a crypto.com wallet user, you do get discounts at live events for the UFC and F1 for that matter. another one of their major partners. But the difference is the technology. And on top of that, you don't see Brian Armstrong at an NBA basketball game. At least I haven't. And Chris, the founder, Chris Marszalek, founder of crypto.com, is only recently following the Sonny Lou blueprint. And you can see him here attending the crypto.com F1 Miami Grand Prix. Guys, my first job was the Belle Isle Grand Prix when I was 13 years old. Okay? To see these blockchain companies in the same environments that that essentially raised me, guys, essentially raised me, it's definitely one of those full circle moments, and it's part of the reason why I'm adding VeChain back to my portfolio, okay? Because the tells here indicate that this is just the beginning. It's assets like VeChain, crypto.com, and you can even throw Binance into this discussion if we're talking outside of the United States, that are using sports and entertainment to embed blockchain into the world of pop culture. And once we do that, that's when we get that mainstream bull run that we have been talking about for years. Once we have the mainstream attention, that'll bring in more investors, which will then have its effect on the markets after the fact. But that's the key. It's after the fact here. What we need are eyeballs. And Dana White is about to reinforce that point. I have a clip here. Dana White talking to the $1 billion princess, Stephanie McMahon herself, about VeChain.
With Power Slap, I like trying to figure things out. I want what I want when I want it, and I just got to figure out how to do it. And it's not necessarily the traditional way to do it. So we just cut a deal with a company called VeChain. It's a blockchain company.
That's what I wanted. That was one of my questions.
They're our rights deal now. So they're our rights deal, and I'm going to put it on YouTube, because what I care about right now more than anything, when you're growing something like this, and it has the the attention that it does from people, you want eyeballs. You want as many eyeballs as you could possibly get, and I already know it's a global business.
So, like he said, you want eyeballs on your product. You want as many eyeballs as possible. And that's something that I preach a lot on this channel when we're covering these networks, because perfect analogy. You guys, some of you may know I used to rap. And one of the things that I was always told is that a song don't exist until you have a video. You can write as many white papers as you want. You can have the fanciest website in the world, 100,000 followers on X, 50,000 on YouTube, another 20,000 on TikTok. Your Discord is jumping. But if you don't have something that I can see, I can put my hands on, tangible, that I can engage with using one of my senses, you essentially don't exist. That's what it is. So what I like to see are these networks penetrating pop culture in this way. First time I laid eyes on a professional wrestling ring, 5 years old. Okay. Macho Man Randy Savage taking on Ric Flair. WCW, Saturday night. If you would have told me back then that in 25-ish, 6-ish years, you'd be running a YouTube channel talking about digital assets and the future of finance and blockchain technology and wrestling at the same time. Guys, we're here. We just got to be patient. And we can tell the market is moving. So my initial sentiments for May could be a bit different, man. We might hit 6 figures again. But the fact remains, folks, we have penetrated pop culture. And at this point, there is no turning back. Now, let's jump over to the terminal so I can share some tools with you before we get out of here. Number one being the Blockchain Starter Kit for 2025. If you're new to the space, ladies and gentlemen, this will tell you everything you need to know about it. Consider it your dossier for the blockchain world. It'll give you a visual representation, sort of the process of how these technologies get adopted. I have to alter this to make it a bit more universal because it's really built with the financial implications in mind. But for this example, independent organization, you can say that was the UFC or TKO. Since the relationship is between UFC on paper, we'll say UFC. Third party tech provider, VeChain. Financial service provider, we can exclude that, or we can add TKO there because surely they're providing the funding for all of these events. They come together. The blockchain network they use is VeChain, and the completed blockchain application to my initial research seems to be centered around stability, fan engagement, and then, of course, the NFC technology that's patented by VeChain that's incorporated into the fighting gloves. That is why I added this adoption model here, because I want people to understand this stuff. I want people to be able to eat it up, just like I eat it up every day. And then you have a criteria, guys, evaluating digital assets, utility, marketability. That's the big one, right? Marketability. Can the asset connect with the people? 162,000. All right. Now, I'm not saying every last one of those people were like, what is a VeChain? But you got to understand the lifestyle of a fan. They embed themselves into every element of their sport. And if their sport begins to add new elements like NFTs or digital collectibles, which the WWE has experimented with in the last couple of years, that's just real talk I'm giving y'all. Okay, my thing is not chart based. It's based off of real life. And if you start penetrating real life, then I'm gonna follow you to the ends of the earth. Now, also, that starter kit pairs well with the new financial system master sheet, guys. You can see here, these are the networks that we've primarily covered on the channel in the last few years. It's given us the opportunity to catalog the organizations that work with these networks. I guarantee you, when you download this and you study it, you will see an overlap. You can take the names on these lists and in these categories and research them, and they will expose you to the inner workings of these networks. And then lastly, you get nowhere without foundational information. That's why I put together Blockmaster. Simple to read, easy to understand, 28-page ebook. Talks about blockchain, tokenization, smart contracts, crypto wallets, the whole nine. Everything that I have been exposed to in my 5 years in this space. So with that, guys, links to everything will be in the description under this video, as well as the pinned comment. And with that, let me know what y'all think about this. Has blockchain penetrated pop culture? With that, y'all know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.